Hi, it's Anne. Thanks for stopping by. Here's a fun little technique that I think you might really enjoy using. I happen to use it on this tag. And this is that little, one of those little 1, 2, 3 clusters that we made the other day. But look here. Look at this background here. I made that using a stencil. And I'd like to show it to you because it's really easy. And I just thought we'd make several of them together today. But it's going to get a little bit messy. So I'm going to set this aside. Isn't that cute? It's a little bit subtle, but anyway, we're going to get to how to make it because I think it's something you'll enjoy. Bringing in my background paper so that I can get a little bit messy. We're going to be using watercolors today. And the other thing that you'll need, because I don't want to be coy, you're going to want to have a melamine sponge. And here's a big one here. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser is a very well-known brand here in the United States. And with all due respect to Mr. Clean and the Procter & Gamble company that makes them, they're a fine, innovative company, been around a long time, based in Ohio, and my niece is actually a chemist with Procter & Gamble. Anyway, all that aside, the generic name is a melamine sponge, and you can get generic ones as well that I'm sure would work just as good for this. I have a partial one that I've cut off here, and I'm going to use, looks like it's picked up a little bit of lint. I tend to not use these in cleaning all that much, but it's a little grungier than I thought. Kind of pick off some of that off camera here, so you don't need to see my household lint. Anyway, it dissolves. There's an abrasive quality to it. You know, they've been around for a long time. So you may have, certainly may have seen magic erasers before. They're not magic, they're science, but they're fine cleaners. But we're going to use them today in our project. Let's start with the watercolor portion because I did some of that in advance, but I just want you to see how... how easy it is to do this. This is not fine watercoloring at all. I have out my watercolors and I have out my bigger brush. I don't have what they think of as a mop brush, but if I had one, I would use one for this. What should we paint? Let's, oh gee, I'm thinking of my friend Connie today. She's in Tennessee. I'm gonna use orange. Let's do that. And let me see if I'm in, yeah, I'm kind of in shot here. And I'm just activating that pigment. I'm not doing any blending or anything of that nature. I'm just very loosely holding my brush and keeping that little pan wet to pick up more pigment. And I'm just going to mop in a bunch of this watercolor pigment. I'm not worried about technique or anything. I just want to keep it moist enough that I can keep picking this up. And I'm going to do, not the whole page, but I am going to make about the size that I would need to cover a tag about this size. So I'm just going to eyeball that, and I'm not worried about getting 100% coverage because I want it to look, you know, I want it to look like it has that variation in the background. And I've done several other colors. Watercolor dries pretty quickly, but I made some ahead of time so I could make certain that they really were dry. Now I'm just going to put this in my water and set that aside. That's all I'm going to do here. If I wanted to, I could come back and add a few different layers after it's dried. But I want to get to the technique. So let me set the watercolors aside and set this aside. And I'm going to bring in a couple of other pieces that I did just a little bit ago. I think this one should be dry now. Did this on a piece of coffee dried paper. This was just a sheet of drawing paper, kids drawing paper that I got off of a roll. so I'm not worried about my my papers here. And let's take this little piece of linty magic eraser. I should call it melamine sponge because, again, you do not have to use the Procter & Gamble brand. And which of my stencils do I want to use here? I could do kind of a swirly thing. I think with this being green, I might want to do something kind of leafy. And so I have my stencil ready, and then I'm just going to dampen my melamine sponge with the spray. If I wanted to, I could go over to the sink and do this, but the spray is handy. Is that damp? Yeah, it's fairly damp. I'll give it another little spritz there. And this is where it is going to get kind of messy, because remember, this is abrasive. It's not messy in the fact that it's, you know, like wet paint or anything. It's just we're going to have a lot of crumbles off of this. And, yep, that's staying damp. I've only done this once before, so. How is this? That's even better than the pink one. Look at that. Put another little bit up here in this corner. That surprises me. Oh, I love that. I'm stunned. I think that just looks so nice. Let's try a couple of the other colors, because this is now damp and I'm going to want to have that dry before I apply it. But what a pretty tag background that's going to be. Oh, that surprised me. Really surprises me. Maybe different colors will go differently. Now, the first time I did this with this pink, there was lots and lots of crumblies that came up. Maybe it's different color. I don't know, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Now, I've got a lot of green there. I could rinse this out, I suppose. Don't really remember how that works. I think for now I'm just going to use a different side. Let's use this piece of music paper. I did the very same technique here with the watercolor. I added a little bit of yellow on the side over there. And what should we use here? Maybe I'll use this kind of swirly stencil, and use this side here. I have a feeling maybe the first time I did that on the pink, I wasn't quite as damp, and so maybe that's why I had to rub and the sponge crumbled more. So maybe getting it nice and saturated is the key. Well, this is coming off too. How is this going to work? That's okay. It's okay. I don't know that I love that swirly thing on top of the music paper too much. It's visually a little bit busy, so I'm going to set that aside. I don't like that one nearly as much as I like this one. But as you could tell, I really fell in love here. So let's set that aside. And I'll use one more side. Then I think I'm going to go rinse it out to see how well that watercolor comes out, to see if we could keep using it. I know when I first dug the magic eraser box out of the cabinet earlier today when I was trying it, and this was something I saw, I think, on Instagram. So it's, not unique to me. I pulled the cabinet, or pulled the sponge out of the cabinet, and part of it was really, I had been scrubbing in the sink or something, so I just cut that part off. That's one nice thing about these melamine sponges, is that you can easily cut them off. Let's see, maybe I'll use, I think I have a honeycomb stencil. Look down here. There's a honeycomb stencil that has bees on it. Boy, I'm going to pick up a lot of paint there. Let me see if I have one that's a little bit smaller. I think I'm liking this one better because the open spaces are not as big as these open spaces. And I want to leave more of the yellow. So let's maybe just put this all the way over that yellow piece and do a little bit more spraying, and we'll see how this goes. Yeah, the first time I did it, I was really scrubbing. And so I think maybe that melamine sponge was just a little more crumbly. I mean, I literally had to sweep up or vacuum off my desk before because there was so much crumbling. Not quite so much here. All right, the big reveal. Okay, that's a little more subtle, but I do like that. And then this one, how about, I was thinking about using bricks on that kind of brick color. So I don't mind using the side that has the little bit of yellow on it. Let's stencil some of these bricks. And then I'll rinse out the melamine sponge and we'll see what its reuse potential is. And then we'll see if we can do something with this. Isn't this fun? Yeah, I think I feel like it's coming off. This is another one where the exposed portions are pretty big. And I may have been better off putting a heavier layer of paint on there. Yeah, not quite so good on this one. But let's see how it dries. I'm going to let these air dry for a little bit and we'll be back. Okay, I have learned several things. I am happy to report that the melamine sponge rinses out really nicely. There's a little bit of watercolor that is still in there. When I've used them for cleaning before, I mean, naturally you rinse out sponges and, squeeze them and everything. But, when I'm scrubbing when I'm scrubbing toothpaste residue off my bathroom sink, again, of course, I rinse it, but I'm not looking, there's not color or anything that has to rinse out of there. And truthfully, I don't use these, as I think I mentioned, very much. I tend to use other, baking soda and vinegar and water and other cleaning products. Not even certain really why I had these, but I was glad that I did for today. These can be reused and reused. They will wear down because of the abrasive quality. They will shrink, but using them to pull up paint, the pigment from the paint that gets in here, it's going to mostly rinse out. These have dried rather nicely, and I found a few embellishments, so I think we're going to make some cards. But I wanted to show you the other thing that I learned, the orange piece that we painted. I thought, let me, now that it's dry, I thought I'm just going to go ahead and try it with a stencil. And I did, and it picked, it's a bright color, but I knew it was going to be. But this one did get crumbly when I went to go rub the stencil. Oh, sorry, I have an embellishment sitting there. So I don't know if you can tell, there's a lot of crumble that's here. And I realized that it's not so much in nature of the technique and the sponge as much as it is the paper. This is that, kids drawing paper, and there must be something, if it was the fibers in the paper that popped up, or, just something that created a lot of crumbliness. So you can even see here on the stencil, that's, that didn't happen with the others. This one really, really crumbled. It could be the sponge, it could be the paper fibers, I don't know. This is certainly usable, but I'm going to want to wash it and get, this dust off of here. I'm going to set that aside because that's just going to require a little bit of cleaning. Let's get back to finishing these tags, and I'm going to pull, Isn't that nice how this washed up? I'm going to pull my little piece of newsprint aside so that I can get back to my regular work surface. I got out some of the painted frames that I did a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that might be nice here. My little honeycomb. I thought, at first I pulled out this great big butterfly because I thought that might be kind of fun to have on there. And I thought, no, bees and butterflies, you know, yes, they live together in the wild, but I don't want to mix up my motifs. So I went hunting and I found this out of a cookbook, a little honey jar. And these were one of our little 1, 2, 3 embellishments that we did the other day. So I thought those could layer up nicely, and this could be a nice tag. Let's do these two. Pull out my, what did I do with my, oh, here it is. My ruler. And, let's see, I think this was the size. I think that was going to fit kind of nicely. Let me pull this one off. I don't think there's any need to get to that one today. And I have I took some old file folders and I just put covered the backs of them with plain paper for journal space. I patched it, you know, it didn't all match, and I'm kind of glad. In fact, maybe I'll do a video about that, about prepping tags by finishing the backs first, and then they're all ready for us to put the fronts on. Don't know that that would be the world's most exciting video, but it would be a handy technique. All right. Obviously, this piece of scratch paper. This was a class syllabus, I think, from my teaching days. I didn't teach in the main part of my career, but I did after I retired. I did freelance teaching with Portland State. And taught business writing. Whoops, well that was a shoddy tearing job, was it not? Yes, it was. I guess I really could have done this off camera, but I thought you might want to see how everything came together. Now, when I put the front on a journal tag or a card, I trim off the corners a little bit, and you probably do too. There's no magic to this. There's not even science to this. And I don't think I'm going to bother to ink these. I might ink the whole thing when I'm done. I could have just trimmed that front so that they both ended at the edge of the tag, but I kind of like folding things over. I kind of like that look, and I kind of like encasing the sides in paper. Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. If I was cutting off of a masterboard that was already backed, I wouldn't have this little bit of encasement. But nonetheless, that's where I have this one today. Okay, there is our front. And I am going to ink that front because it came out a little on the lopsided side, but I'm really okay with that. This is where I might have measured my my tag a little more, but I'm just going to come in here with that ink, that distress ink, and that's going to fill in that little white space, because I do like this width for a tag. Now, what did I do with my honey pot? Here it is. And, well, come on, you little Dickens. And here's my 1, 2, 3. Oh, I like that. I think that's going to look nice. Before I do that, I am going to round the corners. If in fact I can find my corner rounder. My desk is in such a mess, you have no idea. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I'm going to make this actually a journal card rather than a tag, although I can certainly always put a tag topper on there if I wish. Oh, I really like how this stencil came out through that watercolor. Isn't it pretty? I just love it. And it was so, I mean, you saw it. It was just so easy. Yeah, those little 1, 2, 3 elements, a lot of you have been enjoying those, which I really appreciate. And I'll put the link below in case it's something you missed and would like to go back to, but they're very handy little embellishments. I'm glad that you found them so handy too. Oh, while I'm fiddling here, I should mention a couple things that viewers have said recently. Somebody asked, and I do not blame her at all for asking, because how would you know? She said, please don't put political ads on your videos. Well, I do not want to have political ads on my videos. Thank you for mentioning. I'm really sorry you had to see those. We get enough of politics, don't we? You don't want to see them when you're looking for craft videos. But I will tell you that the YouTube content creators like me, like Gail, like, you know, Christy, like Julie, like anybody else, we do not get to choose what ads YouTube puts on our videos. That is YouTube's choice. And I do think that things are customized a little bit. You know, if you live, like, you know, I'm in Portland, Oregon, so I get YouTube ads for grocery stores that are in this area. You know, there might be some of the other ad content that is, you know, geared towards, you know, an older woman who's interested in crafts. But, you know, sometimes those political ads show up. I haven't seen any, but please understand, I don't choose the ads, and I am really sorry if something objectionable popped up on your feed. Thank you for understanding that that is something that YouTube chooses to put on. Sometimes it may be based on, you know, the region where you live, or maybe your search history or something like that. Anyway, back to this. This looks cute, doesn't it? It looks super cute. Let's do the other one. The other thing regarding YouTube and ads, I don't know how this is going to affect your viewing experience, but starting in May, YouTube is doing, has another process for how they select when ads go into our videos. Right now, I can manually choose where the ads fall. I don't do that because I don't want to go in and, you know, find those, you know, 2-second pauses. YouTube just sort of automatically does that using AI tools. And for now, I mean, I know it's annoying to have to watch ads when you're just watching a craft video, but, you know, that's just kind of how the process works. Oh, back to the paper. This was a coffee dyed copy paper. And so that was different from the drawing paper that drew up all of that, all of those fibers from the paper. So I don't think I mentioned that earlier. Let's see, is this going to... Yeah, I might, this one is so close to the edge, I might cut this off flush. So let me find a, maybe I'll just use this. Anyway, so YouTube is changing its process, and they're making it a lot more complicated. They may be adding more ads. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm a little bit nervous about it. I think a lot of YouTubers are, because again, I just don't want you to have to be inundated with lots of ads when you watch your craft videos. On the other hand, you know, those of us that do this, you know, that's how we get at least a little bit, very little, a little bit of compensation for you know, the time and the effort and the expense that we put into these things. So I do appreciate the chance to collect a little bit of revenue every month. And your viewership makes that possible. So thank you for that. And your patience with the ads makes that possible too. But, you know, that's, you know, all of us are, you know, none of us are getting rich off of this, I assure you. But, yeah, that's going to be okay. I'll have to fill in a little bit of there with ink. Anyway, you may be seeing more ads after the middle of May. I honestly don't know. I don't want to have to go towards, you know, only making my videos available to YouTube subscribers, paid subscribers. You know, that is an option. If you are a paid subscriber, you don't see any ads at all. And, but gee, it's nice to not have to. We already pay for lots of streaming services, don't we? If we're going to be talking about crafts, you know, for myself, I would rather watch an ad or two and have the pleasure of watching Gail and Christy and Julie and Tina and all of my other favorites for free, for the price of enduring an ad or two. Anyway, I'm not exactly certain what is happening with those ads. But a lot of YouTubers are a little bit worried about that. Worried because it's, you know, it could mean more work for them to place ads. They might have to find more spaces for ads. You know, since I don't manually place my ads anyway, I don't really plan to do anything different with my process. But that's enough of the inside baseball. Since it's baseball season, I guess I can make a baseball reference. But that's some inside baseball that you may be hearing some of your YouTubers talk about. Carrie the Crafter has been talking about this. And, you know, YouTube's trying to make a buck. So, you know, I'm glad they're in business. But I also don't want it to be an annoying experience for you. You know, or for me, because I mean, I spend a lot more time watching YouTube than I do creating things for it. So I too am a YouTube consumer. I think I like that big butterfly there. I think I'm just going to go down and put down there's a little bit of texture on this. This is just a little piece of grocery paper that I have run through my embossing machine. It was in my stash. And, oh, that was such a nice surprise when I saw how easy that was, because it came out really a lot nicer than that first pink one that I did for my prototype. And these are all things that, you know, maybe I could put a little word or a little label or something on it. But I also think, you know, if I'm writing about things in my journal, and I want to just pull out a nice little simple thing to write on, I think I would really enjoy writing on the back of a journal card like this. And, you know, since it doesn't have anything on the top, it could fit really nicely under a belly band. And how nice that would be to see a little bit of this and a little bit of this sticking out of that belly band. How beautifully that stencil came out. Oh, I just love it. I really do. So the magic erasers they did a good job for us today, didn't they? The melamine. There we go, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Pull out those stencils, get into your cleaning closet, and have a little fun with this. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much.